So you wanna be a picture book writer, then you gotta write picture books. And you're gonna need a bucket load of bright ideas for titles, plots, and hooks. If you're partial to prose or you're raring to rhyme, then repeat after me, it's a challenge, but I'm gonna tackle each story 1 month at a time with 12 by 12.
So I'm Anne. I am an author and I'm very excited to be here with y'all today. I've been in 12 by 12. It's amazing. So these are my books. The first one, Everybody in the Red Brick Building, illustrated by Oge Mora. And that one was written, I wrote it in 2017 and it came out in 2021. So I'm sure you are familiar with the fact that it can take a long time for picture books to come out after they're written. All right, so we are going to be talking about perfectly paced picture books today. So when Julie asked me if I wanted to do this, I was like, yes, that sounds wonderful. And then I was immediately like, wait, what is pacing? And as a child, I didn't have very many enemies, but I did have two big enemies in my life. And one was the piano and one was the violin. So when I thought of pacing, I immediately thought of music and keeping time and the metronome. On the left is a picture of my mom and my son, and on the right is me. And even though dress is lovely, bow is lovely, the look in my eyes says that I was not happy about playing this violin because I never was. Now, let me rewind a little bit. This was my family when I was little. That's me with the little dress. And my parents actually met as music majors. They studied music at Texas Southern University. And so I'm sure they thought, oh, we've got 4 kids. One of them will play an instrument. But no, they tried with all of us. None of us play any instruments. I think about half of us regret not staying on with our instruments, but you know, I think it was just too close to home. We didn't want to do what they were doing. So we don't play instruments, but fortunately they have grandkids who play instruments. These are my kids and they play the piano and the drums and the guitar. And so things can get pretty loud at our house, but it's still really nice to have all that access to music. So when I think about pacing, I think of it as the music of your story. I think about tempo, which is how fast or slowly your book is read. I think about rhythm, which are the patterns of the sounds in your sentences. And I think about rests, which are page turns, punctuation, and text placement. So we're going to talk about tempo first. And we're going to talk about tempo, but really all these things are intertwined. So there's going to be some rhythm in there. Obviously, a lot of these, almost every book has every book does have page turns, punctuation, and text placement. So they all work together. But we're going to try to focus on one at a time, even though they work in concert. Okay, so tempo, rocking out or rocking to sleep. These are pictures of bedtime for my kids at various ages. And so what I would do, we would read a lot of books, especially when it was just my older son. And he was really good at pushing the limits and always adding more books to the stack. So we would have a big stack of books. And that was fine because I loved reading it at night. It was when he was finally still and everything was calm and I was really enjoying the books. And I didn't know it at the time, but it was a great education that prepared me to write my own picture books. But I was very conscious of the order in which we read our books. I would curate the stack before we sat down and make sure it followed the right order. Because if I look at the picture with my mother-in-law, she's wearing the pink shirt. That is a book called I'm a Dirty Dinosaur. And it is about a dinosaur who's all muddy and it's very rhythmic. It's like, I'm a dirty dinosaur with a dirty snout. And it's like very dancey and bouncy. And it's a high energy book. So that would be near the top of the pile. So we could read that one first while they're still like settling down, trying to get still. And another one that was kind of like that was Punk Farm, which if you're familiar with that one is by Jarek Krasaska. It's about old McDonald's farm animals and they have a band and they rock out at night and literally in the middle of the book, my kids are like yelling out the old McDonald tune and it's really loud and it's really energetic and we loved it, but that could not be the last book of the night. No, that would not be okay. We are trying to have a progression towards quiet. So at the end would be books like the Going to Bed book and Goodnight Moon, so that after all that time we spent reading, you were lulling into sleep, hopefully. So I want you to think about with your books that you are writing, where do you fall in the bedtime reading order? Are you writing a book that's like a just settling down, fast-paced read, or a book that a teacher might read right after recess when the kids are still jumpy? Are you reading books that are at the very end of the night when it's time for everybody to close their eyes and turn off the lights and get in the bed? Or maybe even they're already in the bed and you're reading it right by the bedside. Or maybe the teacher reads it right before nap time. Or is it one of the ones that needs to be somewhere in between? Because we need those too, so we can transition. So I'm going to read you the text from like the first spread or so of each of these books so you can kind of see how the pacing works and how it lends itself to being a fast-paced book, a slow-paced book, or somewhere in between. Also, apologies if you hear my chair squeaking. It's a very squeaky chair. Okay, so how do you make someone read faster or slower? Well, you don't have stage directions, right? You can't be in the room whispering to them, pick up the pace, come on, let's go, we gotta get through the night. Or like, slow down, please focus on my beautiful words. So you have to really use a lot of different things like word length, punctuation, the consonant sounds, and hints to try to get them to read it at the pace that you think it should be. So let's look at Nino Wrestles the World by Juji Morales. These are all the words from the first spread, or I think maybe 3 pages of the book. Nino, 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 Nino. So you could read it like Nino, 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 but really the text tells you that that is not how it's supposed to be read. It is supposed to be high energy. These are single word sentences that end in exclamation points. The word niño is a staccato word. It's like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and the text does get bigger as you go along. So you have a really high energy piece of text there, and that was by design. Now we're going to go to Kicks by Van Garrett, illustrated by Reggie Brown. You can't pick kicks the way you pick sticks, or stones, or dinosaur bones. Okay, so pick kicks, pick sticks. I feel like those are really punchy word combinations. And even if you look at the consonant sounds in these lines, it's got a lot of K sounds, which are hard. That's a hard sound, k, and some T sounds. And there's also even a subtle nod to the rhyme, sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt me, because that is a bouncy sort of rhyme in itself. So even if you don't immediately think of that, that's still in the back of your head. This is still a high energy, punchy group of words that encourages you to read it with some energy. And then we've got Wishes by Monty Vaughn, illustrated by Victor Nye, and I love this book. And on the first spread, the line is, "The night wished it was quieter." And those words are just very soft and slow and lulling words. Even if you take away the sounds, the meanings are very slow and very soothing. Night wished quieter, but then the sounds, the vowel sounds, the W sound, the sh sounds like it's hushing you to sleep. And if you compare Wishes, that first line, and also of course the artwork is working with it too, the color palette as well. The night wished it was quieter. If you compare that with the first one we had, Niño, 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 it's so different. So think about where you are in that spectrum and where you are hoping to land, because that will help you pace your book appropriately.
Do it together so never you fear. It's a handy little way to help you kick into gear. You're amazing, exciting, look out! 'Cause you're writing 12 by 12.
12 manuscripts.
12 by 12.
12 picture books.
12 by 12.